story we tell ourselves about how Trump happened. That Russia found him, recruited him, they ran an operation. And that story is actually more comforting than the truth. Trump was never an oligarch. He never had Putin money. Trump doesn't think in terms of America, the government, the society, the economy. He thinks in terms of what he can do personally. And Putin can do more personally on the scale of Russia than Trump can do personally on the scale of America. So the only way to reach Putin's level was to take the presidency, get rid of the restraints like Congress, and surround himself with yes men and losers, and run America the way Putin runs Russia, as a corrupt mafia state. Trump was envious of Putin. Putin was envious of America. And now Trump has America and Putin has Trump. Trump and Putin are the mirrors of each other. Donald Trump spent his entire life pressing his face against glass he could never get through. His father made money in Queens. It was useful money, but it wasn't the Manhattan money. It wasn't old family money. It wasn't the kind that gets you into the rooms. The real power lives. So Donald crosses the bridge, puts his name on buildings. He buys tables at galas where old money families had the seats for generations. They didn't notice him. They ignored him. That specific wound of being invisible to exact people you most want to impress, it never healed. Then came the businesses. Trump Taj Mahal, $675 million to open a casino. He lost it. Trump Entertainment, lost it and lost it again. Trump Steak, Trump University, Trump Magazine. This man managed to lose money running a casino. And if you know anything about casino, the house always wins. He was the house and he still lost. Every American bank eventually made the same rational decision. They all looked at this record and said, no, wait, until only door left was Deutsche Bank, which lent him money long after everyone else had walked away. Even that door started closing. There was this window opening. His name is Felix Sater of the Bayrock Group. Russian money flowing through the shell companies into Trump-branded real estate when literally no legitimate American lender would touch him. And here's what he learned from all this. If you make the mess big enough, someone else always has to clean it up. Rules are a trap for people who believe in them. He lost the 2020 election. 60 lawsuits. His own judges, 60-0. And instead of accepting reality, his response was to declare that reality was wrong. I'm right, you are all wrong. I won.
What is truth, Tony? What is truth? You know what's truth? What you say is truth. What I say is truth. What he says is truth. What is the truth in life? Deny everything, admit nothing. You know what's true? What I say is true. And third of all, and most important, no matter how fucked you are, you never, ever, ever admit defeat. You always claim victory.
There's a country where that is actually not a disorder. That is policy. And that is the job description. And that's the country we need to talk about. Vladimir Putin was not a powerful KGB officer. He was a mid-level foreign intelligence agent stationed in Dresden, East Germany. Not anywhere that really mattered. Dresden was a backwater posting, the kind that you give someone when the center doesn't need them. And in 1989, the Soviet Empire he dedicated his life to began dissolving. The wall comes down. Crowds are celebrating this monumental moment. He calls Moscow for instructions. Nobody answers him. It's done. So then he packs up his own files, drives home, didn't really make anything of himself. The empire he gave his life to is gone. In 72 hours, all of it is gone. Can you imagine? Without even phone call. Years later, he stood in front of his country and called the collapse of the Soviet Union the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of the 20th century. To climb in Russia after that collapse, you don't get promoted. You get selected. And the selection was one silent question. How much are you willing to destroy? 1999, apartment buildings in Moscow started exploding in the middle of the night. 300 people asleep in their beds, vaporized so that ghost from Dresden could climb a ladder to the presidency. The bombs were blamed on Chechen terrorists before any investigation, before any evidence. Then, in Ryazan, a fifth bomb was found before it went off, and the man planting it with it turned out to be FSB officers, Putin's own agency. And the official explanation was that it was a training exercise in a residential building in the middle of the night. What are you training for? Chechen wars leveled entire cities. You don't get to the top of that system by accident. You get there by showing people that are watching that you're willing to do what they can't bring themselves to name. And look at what he built. Russia sits on natural wealth, oil, gas, minerals, enough to have been Norway with its sovereign wealth fund. All of Russia could have been Dubai. Global skyline in one generation. Instead, Putin turned it into a genocidal death cult. Over 1.3 million Russian casualties killed and wounded. A whole generation for fields nobody wanted. Still don't know what they're fighting for. The war costs between $400 and $500 million every day, while the average Russian earns $250 a month. In a country sitting on extraordinary natural wealth. Putin is putting 14-year-olds, so teenagers now work assembling deadly weapons, the Shahad drones that are shipped to the front and are used to kill kids, civilians. People like to call Russia an empire. He didn't build an empire. He dug a grave. There's a story we tell ourselves about how Trump happened. That Russia found him, recruited him, that he's Agent Krasnov. And that story is actually more comforting than the truth because it requires that Trump would have been changed by Russia, corrupted into something he wasn't before. And the truth is, Russia didn't find Trump. Russia recognized him. The same survival rules, the same psychology, same contempt for any system that could say no and make it stick. When two people have survived by the same code their whole lives, they don't need introductions. And while Trump was telling rally crowds that he had no business dealings in Russia, well, his lawyer, Michael Cohen, was emailing the Kremlin directly to Putin's spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov. There were letters of intent signed. While Trump was the Republican nominee, Cohen pleaded guilty to lying to Congress about all of it. In Russian intelligence, there's a word for what you have on someone with a secret that size. Kompromat. It's not blackmail, it's a leash. The man wearing it holds the other end himself. What Putin sees in Trump is the destroyer, the man who can do from the inside in 4 years what 30 years of Russian propaganda could never do from the outside. NATO fractured, America's credibility is dismantled, the alliances that took 80 years and trillions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of lives to build, gone. It's a gift from Trump. Because what Trump sees in Putin is the thing he always wanted. No Congress, no courts, no press that can really touch him, no accountability, just force. And the permanent removal of anyone who says no. Russia is prison. And Trump looked at that prison and called it strength. We've seen this before. Nero set Rome on fire, then blamed the Christians for it and built himself a golden palace on the ashes. Hitler, in the bunker on March 19th, 1945, Germany is days from collapse, signed the decree destroying everything. Germany can't win, then Germany doesn't deserve to exist. Blow up the bridges, demolish the factories, let the people die in rubble rather than accept what's real. Caligula made his horse a senator, not because he was insane. He wanted the Senate to understand in the most humiliating way possible that the Senate doesn't mean shit. And he means everything. You are nothing, I am everything. If I can't have it, no one can. That's the only sentence in every century, in every language, in every empire that has ever burned itself to the ground. And both these men are acting that sentence out right now. Ukraine and Zelensky have humiliated him over and over and over again. His Crimea conquest, his pride and glory, well, it keeps getting blown up and the whole world sees it. Yeah, that's pretty embarrassing. Every response is more unhinged. Trump posted on the internet that Iran's entire civilization would die that night. These are not leaders. These are wounded children with the most destructive weapons ever built in the middle of a tantrum. And one of them is supposed to be on our side. But he loves Putin more. There's a name for what both of these men share, and it's narcissistic personality disorder. And the clinical profile is grandiosity, a need for constant admiration, an absence of real empathy, volcanic, personal rage in response to perceived humiliation. NPD doesn't come from confidence. It comes from a child who learned early that he was not enough. So the real self gets buried in its place, a fortress gets built. Performance, dominance, the absolute refusal to ever lose, because losing feels like the original wound all over again. What makes both of them truly catastrophic is that they're completely surrounded by cowards, by people too scared to speak or too complicit to care. And when no one in the room tells you the truth, well, you stop living reality. And they found each other. Of course they did, because people who have survived by the same code always recognize each other. And the code was the same. Destroy before you can be destroyed. Redefine reality when reality doesn't cooperate. If you can't have it, make sure no one can. We know how this ends. Nero burned Hitler in the bunker, orders to armies that didn't exist. It always ends because power built on wound and ego and the refusal to ever lose, that always ends. Only question is what it costs on the way down. When you look at what Ukraine is defending and what these two men are destroying, when you look at the choice being made right now on this earth, what do you reflect? My name is Slavie. This is SlavaCast, World at War. Thank you so much for being here. Please subscribe, like, comment, share, hype. Really means a lot. Be brave like Ukraine. God bless America and Slava Ukraini. Bye, guys.